Good morning. I am Day. DAA are my initials, pronounced Day. Walk with me on the recovery journey of hope, renewal, resilience, and self reflections. Fair use. Strengthening my recovery. Meditations for adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. March 29th. Workplace recovery. We have a high tolerance for workplace dysfunction and tend to stick it out in an unhappy job because we lack the self-esteem to leave. BRB, Big Red Book, page 419. Many of us were trained to be numb, so we were. We didn't speak up for ourselves at work or anywhere because it made us feel guilty. When we were abused, we stayed. We passed way past respectable limits. We were prone to being bullied. When put on the spot, we usually crumbled even though we knew in our gut we were right. Underneath, we seethed with anger and resentment. As we change and grow with the steps, sponsorship, and meeting attendance, we take our recovery with us everywhere. We see direct results as we leave destructive self-abuse behind in our own personal life and detach from those we are addicted to, oftentimes our parents. In our work life, it can seem as if a spell has been broken. People who used to push us around or take us for granted now begin to respond differently as we set healthy limits. We are changing the rules, and it has a ripple effect. We are more than our jobs and now give ourselves the gift of free time to enjoy the things we like. This builds our character and self-esteem one day at a time. The affirmation reads, "On this day I will begin to stand up for myself at work and elsewhere when I need to. I will gently say no to what is not right for me and celebrate my successes. I will ask for help to deal with any negative I may get in return." Today, Emotions Anonymous, March 29th. Reflection for today. There have been a handful of very special people who have come into my life. These people have been instruments of a great deal of healing. For someone who had tried to be self-sufficient as I had, accepting their help was tough. When I became aware that not to accept their care and support would be very self-defeating, it became easier to reach out. As I have been able to let go of pride and fear and reach out, I learned more and more about my own inner beauty. Meditation for today. Nudge me, higher power. If I try to become self-sufficient once again, it is so lonely behind that wall. Today I will remember, by letting love in, I have found myself and a caring higher power. Just for today, Daily Meditations for Recovering Addicts, March 29th. Our own true will. God's will for us consists of the very things we most value. God's will becomes our own true will for ourselves. Basic text, page 48. It's human nature to want something for nothing. We may be ecstatic when a store cashier gives us back change for a 20, though we only paid with a 10. We tend to think that if no one knows, one small deception won't make any difference. But someone does know. We do. And it does make a difference. What worked for us when we used to frequently doesn't long in recovery. As we progress spiritually by working the 12 steps, we begin to develop new values and standards. We begin to feel uncomfortable when we take advantage of situations that, when we used, would have left us gloating about what we had gotten away with. In the past, we may have victimized others. However, as we draw closer to our higher power, our values change. God's will becomes more important than getting away with something. When our values change, our lives change too. Guided by an inner knowledge given us by our higher power, we want to live out our newfound values. We have internalized our higher power's will for us. In fact, God's will has become our own true will for ourselves. Just for today, by improving my conscious contact with God, my values have changed. Today, I will practice God's will, my own true will. Courage to Change, One Day at a Time in Al Anon, March 29th. It's time I started being nicer to myself. The voices in my head tell me I am not good enough, do not speak the truth. They merely reflect the damaged self-esteem that results from living with alcoholism. When I recognize that fact, I can tell them to be quiet. I will no longer listen. Al-Anon recovery has given me gentler, loving thoughts. These remind me that I am lovable and I can learn to love myself. When I open my mind enough to hear that message, I can begin to hear all the other wonderful sounds of life, and the abusive thoughts vanish. Today's reminder: treating myself with kindness and respect helps me to challenge my own self-criticism. Today, I will pay particular attention to any voice that speaks lovingly. And there is a quote from How Can I Help My Children? And it reads, "We need to learn to live, to focus on something good or useful to our lives, and let the rest of the world go about its business." Daily Reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. March 29th. Trusted servants. They are servants. Theirs is the sometimes thankless privilege of doing the group's chores. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 134. In Zorba the Greek, Nikos Kazantzakis describes an encounter between his principal character and an old man busily at work planting a tree. "What is it you're doing?" Zorba asks. The old man replies, "You can see very well what I'm doing, my son. I'm planting a tree." "But why plant a tree?" Zorba asks, "if you won't be able to see it bear fruit?" And the old man answers, "I, my son, live as though I were never going to die." The response brings a faint smile on Zorba's lips, and as he walks away, he exclaims with a note of irony, "How strange! I live as though I were going to die tomorrow." As a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, I have found that the third legacy is a fertile soil in which to plant the tree of my sobriety. The fruits I harvest are wonderful: peace, security, understanding, and 24 hours of eternal fulfillment. And with the soundness of mind to listen to the voice of my conscience when in silence, it gently speaks to me, saying, "You must let go in service. There are others who must plant and harvest." DHB, Devotion, Health, and Beauty Recovery Network. Please share, subscribe, like, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be, one day at a time.